Well, it's about that time that we start discussing matters news. This is the 89.7 Contact FM. And I'm the host of the show, Michael Kiche. The show, of course, is News Review, coming to you live from here in Kigali from Monday to Friday. And as usual, I'm joined by my panelists. Congratulations, Albert, for keeping time.
This guy is really looking for an increase.
No.
Maybe a decrease. No, let him play like this. Thanks. Well, traffic was mild this morning.
It's Thursday, so things like things getting easy, or
no, actually,
there should be more traffic.
I can't. I really don't understand that. I've been talking about that place so many times, and I don't see traffic police really doing something there. I mean, the Gishushu traffic point there is a disaster all the time.
That particular juncture is very bad.
Yeah, I mean, but and the guys are just staring at you.
No, but
you show them and they say, what is going on here?
Yeah.
And people are creating their own traffic jams. Mm-hmm. And it's always this 5 minutes stupidity that 10 minutes becoming 10 minutes that you waste
on
but
traffic.
now in comparison to where I've toured in East Africa, it's different. These guys
I love
they're doing a great job actually.
No, I agree.
It's a mess on the
road.
I'll just say something very quickly, because every time we say something about Rwanda, we say, but you should see other places. I listened one time to a debate in the US about the healthcare system. I said, you should go to Congo then. Okay, but when you start comparing the worst, then obviously, but still, we have to be able to be critical and not say. I'll tell you a quick anecdote. One time, I had a run-in with the police in Canada with two other Rwandese people. We were just walking. They did what is called racial profiling. They saw us, three black guys. They arrested us and then they let us go. They did a quick check, said, okay, nothing on these guys. Mm-hmm. So then I was very upset. I was very riled up. It's the first time something like that happened to me. And I had just left in the world.
Mm-hmm. In your
I
life.
just left a country that went through genocide, and something like this never happened to me. Yeah. Then I'm in a country that's supposed to be at peace, and something like that happens. But the other guys I was with grew up in Uganda, and they were smiling. They were okay. And I was upset, and I said, why are you okay? Now you're upsetting me more.
It's a norm.
They said, you should go to Uganda. At least they were smiling and they didn't beat us.
Yeah.
I said, okay, but still, you were wronged. Accept that you were wronged. You are not a criminal. Why were you put in handcuffs?
Yeah.
Moving right on.
Well, it happened to me last week in London. I mean, the BBC guys or any other journalists were not touched, but they came to the racial profiling and came to me and started searching me and all that. Yeah. So, and I was smiling.
You were an Arab?
In front of, in the middle of Congolese demonstrators. I was the Arab Spring, I guess, on my own.
Some Al-Shabaab in the middle.
Yeah, no, but speaking of Al-Shabaab, I hear that there's a guy who was caught, a Rwandese guy who's suspected of being Al-Shabaab.
And of course, and that is actually, we've just been briefly sharing about that before you walked in.
No, but the line was created the junction right now.
Yeah, and let's just take it on. And there's that story actually that was posted yesterday. Yes. They're talking about the Rwandese national arrested in Burundi. In fact, they're saying he's been deported back to Burundi to Rwanda. Now the claims are that he was teaming up with another Burundian. They've previously gone to Somalia, involved in some terrorism acts.
Yes.
Then he came back to Burundi, and he's
under this. But who says that? You're quoting who in the Star
Africa,
the
Star Africa story. They are simply alluding this to police sources in Kigali. Who are confirming that.
The guy is
listen to this. They're saying a police source in Kigali who requested anonymity confirmed that the Rwandan national was cheating on his profession as an evangelical preacher.
Because the real story in this story is the questioning, what is Burundi busy with? Because they are doing you only hear nasty stuff for the moment when with connected to Rwandan citizens.
Yeah.
And the thing is that officially, no one's want to take a stand.
That's right.
I mean, Moses. We were discussing here, Moses. You can confirm that you were looking for the minister of his EAC, the Burundi minister, who is here.
Yeah.
To at least say
something.
Give a comment on,
yes. And we heard what did she?
What did she
What
say?
was her reaction?
No, she said she can't talk about such matters. I need to call the Foreign Affairs Ministry for clarification because it's not her docket. But I was like, Lion, yes, integration. These businessmen have been arrested in line with integration. They were operating business in Burundi where you say they don't have permits. But she couldn't comment on that. So.
Yeah,
but now she's operating in Rwanda. Does she have a permit to be here?
but she's not conducting business here.
Oh, it's business.
Yeah.
House business.
House business.
It's not the same thing. But that being said, if we look at it, if you deal with it case by case, they will have some explanation, or maybe they won't. But one thing is for sure is that these days we're hearing a lot of things about Rwandese in Burundi. Something seems to be cooking up, and we're not quite sure what. What I'm asking myself now, is there any attempt from the Rwandan side, from the Rwandan government, to approach the Burundians and say, guys, let's sit down and let's look this over and say, what the hell is going on?
Well, from what we know, we've been calling also the embassy.
Yes.
So they are following each case.
The embassy of Rwanda.
In Burundi.
Yes.
They are actually, even our news was giving an interview of the ambassador who is trying to find for each case an explanation, and he only could respond to some cases which were about integration, which is also the reason why we questioned the minister of EAC, because that is contradicting the whole integration policy. So the reason that we're giving according to the ambassador was not really satisfying, because they were against the whole integration policy.
Yes.
Again, another thing happened is that we heard that a professor has been arrested in Kirundo. For the last 48 hours, we are also trying as civil society, the media, to try to get more information, and it remains so vague.
Even the most interesting thing, Albert, as you mentioned that, when I called the Rwandan ambassador in Burundi, it's very interesting that the authorities in Burundi didn't communicate officially to the embassy of Rwanda that there are, Rwandan businessmen who have been arrested. It's actually other fellow businessmen who informed the embassy. Then it's interesting that the day before yesterday, when I called the ambassador, they had officially written to the Foreign Affairs Ministry with no response. Yesterday, when I called back, yet there was no official response.
So let me ask you guys, is it the situation normally? Is it the procedure if you are arrested a foreign national? Is it the procedure to inform that embassy? Or
Not one national. There was more
but when the embassy
national.
requests, then there need to be a follow-up.
Yes.
And it hasn't happened so far. This is going on since last week. So something is there. We can't get more also from this side because I'm sure people are just cautious and because there's so many questions. And then again, two bags on the lake.
Yeah.
2 new bags, And then again, at the moment that now other Burundian sites are coming back with that story about, in fact, being Congolese being killed and dumped into the lake. Something is going on, and on the official side, you see that. My feeling is that Burundian authorities are just playing seek and hide.
Because if you saw our news flash yesterday for midday, I quoted the Iwachu newspaper. Iwachu is a Burundian publication, but now they ran an article on their front page where they said Rwandan businessmen are being harassed by police. They even mentioned some, business centers within Bujumbura where they have gone and tried to speak to Rwandese business people. And they are saying that, the police have been coming, they are arresting them, handcuffing them for no reason. They provide their document, they're taken to jail, then later to be released without any charge.
Mr. Human Rights had the press conference. Is called Pacific.
Pacific.
Yeah, he's been even jailed a couple of times and house arrest and all that. And his press conference of the day before yesterday was about that, about why are the Rwandese being harassed.
So why is it if we have these kind of things happening,
exactly.
why don't we hear any official comment from our side, from Rwanda? If in fact there are all these things happening and that seems to be now filtering out to the local media in Burundi, why are we not taking a stand? Why are we not louder in saying, you know what, this is not acceptable?
But Lion, the government relies on the embassy there to communicate. That's what
but now let's not speculate about governments and all that. We let's put it this way. Now the next step for us as media is to ask the this side here, what is their stand? What is the Ministry of Foreign Affairs?
What's happening?
Yeah.
Are they even aware, or is it blown over? Is it blown out of proportion by the media? And maybe for them, don't see
when you have more than a couple of cases in the concentration of such a small time, you can't really say that the media is overblowing. So you can feel that something is there.
No, I'm asking. No. I'm saying to ask them if that's their take. If the silence would be because of that, or if it is normal.
No, but you see, you assume that there is silence when you haven't questioned them. So that's what I say.
But the government should not talk only when they are asked. That is part of what they should be doing, to take a stand and say, you know what, we are concerned over the mistreatment of Rwanda.
But at the same time, there should be communication between one government and the other.
Of course. So that is what I'm saying. I started with that. Say, do we know of any such communication between the governments? And then at the same time,
we don't know.
Exactly.
We don't know.
So that brings me back to that. Those are questions to be asked.
We don't know. Speculate.
In other cases, when we had the problem at the border, we had at least the authorities. We had the problem at the Congo borders. At least we had people in Gisenyi and Goma talking. And they came out also in the press. You see, but we don't have this case, and that is what I say. We've been seeing things in Burundi where things are happening, but on an official level, they will tell you it's not true. Or everything is fine. I'll just give you the last example. We had this story that we didn't want to air about people starting to organize security rounds during the night and all that.
Vigilantes.
Officially, they said, no, everything is fine. But we knew that on the ground it was happening.
So, not necessarily vigilantes. A vigilante is someone who does it on their own account. So that is
that was organized. That was
officially organized
by security organs in Burundi. So officially on the mic, they told us no, everything is fine, But on the ground, we knew that it was happening. So this situation has been on. That on the ground, you see things happening, you see actions. But officially, there's no one taking on or really being responsible or accepting responsibility for what was
because that takes us back to Lionel's question when like I began his talking. Why is it now that the Burundian authorities are targeting Rwanda citizens? That's the question we should be asking ourselves. Is there anything brewing up
that's a question
don't know about?
That's a question.
Anyway, since we might not be in a position to answer that, probably we just need to continually make follow-ups and at least get a word from the Rwandan government. But
a small comment.
Before you just make your comment, it also reminds me of still, I remember when we were talking about the BBC thing and asking Mushikwabo what the government was doing about it. She said, we are doing our homework. And I don't know if today, that was, I think, 3 weeks down the line. I don't know if still today they're still doing their homework. So I also hope this Burundi-Rwanda thing is not going to take that long for the government to do its homework. If the citizens of this nation their lives are not comfortable on the other end or on the other side of the border. So yes, you wanted
Yeah,
to.
but maybe we didn't do the follow-up to see if she finished the homework.
Yes.
So we can grade the homework and tell her if she had an A or B or C or an F.
No, the small comment is that when we discuss with civil society in Burundi, with our colleagues in the press,
Yes.
they say that they feel that there is a growing sentiment, a growing feeling that it's like, yes, there is a target on Rwanda. There is this thing to make it uneasy for the moment. And why? They have so many explanations for that, but maybe we better wait until we get some more to know. But even there, their own proper civil society is that is the feeling that they have.
Okay.
To be continued.
To be continued.
But maybe.
And now, like we promised yesterday, that today we would revisit the issue in Burkina Faso, the protests in Burkina Faso.
Yes.
And this is because
that is growing also.
Yes, and the president who came in power in 1987 wants to run for another term, and
who has been very much accused of having killed his friend and predecessor
Thomas
Sankara.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
He has been accused of rolling for the French to have killed a son of Africa, a hero of Africa,
Sankara Thomas.
Thomas Sankara.
But, and speaking of that, and we talk a lot about speculation, and it probably falls in that bracket. It's always strange when you have sometimes when you analyze these kind of things, when no international or national investigation was ever made, like the killing of a president is just okay. They moved on quickly to the transition. He became the president. France was very fast in recognizing him as the president, even though those kind of accusations were leveled against him, and everything seems to point to the fact that it may be true. Wasn't there, so I'm not going to be the one to say it, but everybody else who follows it seems to be on that side. And yet, after all these years,
Even Thomas had predicted.
exactly. After all these years, it's almost like it doesn't matter. Okay, we talk about Thomas Sankara as a hero, as an African hero.
Yes.
Interestingly enough, when you follow a little bit about Burkina Faso, he's not given that kind of level of they slightly they glance over that time. They criticize him about certain things, but certainly it brings us back now to this thing that is being talked about in many African countries of
Who
now
killed Jesus?
wanting to, who kills Jesus? Or did he die before
And
on the cross? I saw another one, another documentary of the BBC
that you
said
cannot die from the cross,
the
crucifixion.
No, that one, yeah. I saw another one, The Secret Family of Jesus Christ.
And they're French, eh? And they're French.
Jesus was married.
You know, and
Yeah,
François
I know.
Mitterrand is the last.
It says apparently they relocated to France, according to them.
I know, I've heard of that story.
So anywho, but now we are in this thing that we were talking about yesterday of many presidents in Africa are now coming to their last term according to their constitution, according to the term limits.
Yes.
And now it's being spoken about in Burkina Faso and other places about amending their constitution to remove term limits. Yesterday we had that discussion of saying, is that what defines democracy, to have those limits, or should we look at it from a different angle? That being said, many of these, still we can't rule out that many of these presidents are trying to do it to serve their own interest and thirst of power. Yeah. What is your take on that, Albert?
On what? On what? Because on Jesus?
And his secret
Jesus.
Yeah.
I'm still no, but I think we would be mixing too many layers at the same time. I think each society, each situation is different. We might have the principles this principle of having in Africa a season where now presidents wants to change the constitutions.
Yeah.
Because like Lion was reminding, us and the audience is that we a couple of them are in the situation that they have reached the terms limit, but this was a burp of probably the best coffee in the world. probably. But we have a situation in Burkina Faso, and it's better. I believe each situation to take it on its own. What do we have in Burkina? I mean, yes, we have a situation where for me it's always difficult to analyze ex-French colonies because of what? The reality is that the real power is cash, and the cash is not in the hand of Burkinabés.
Yeah, obviously. Yes.
The cash is in Paris. As long as they don't have a central bank that they can control, somebody else is pulling the strings.
So it's about the interest of France.
Yes. So the question will be here, is France going to drop Compaoré or not? On the other hand, Compaoré has been very, very busy in the last decade to become the man that everybody needs for negotiations in Mali, in Côte d'Ivoire, in Guinea. This has been the forefront used by Paris. So the real question is here: how much? Because you were asking a very valid question that is never answered. How much of their own destiny do the Burkinabé have in their hands? Is that opposition ready to do the sacrifices to really cut off the link with France? Because how to get rid of Compaoré unless Paris drops him?
Exactly. And unfortunately, when you look at, when you observe West Africa and the ex-colonies, and I use it loosely, as you rightly pointed out, it's ex, maybe just in form or
exactly.
Many a time when they contest the powers that be in those countries, they still run to France for support. So they're still. My feeling is that they still do not see that they play a great role in the problems they're having today and the problems they will have tomorrow.
I mean, the reality was for Côte d'Ivoire is that Ouattara was the choice of France, and that's bottom line. So Gbagbo had to go,
and we can easily see when you look at all these things. I remember way back in the day when we were much younger. All these countries were for us the examples. You see, now people used to even compare, and that's very sad. You used to compare colonizers and say, look at these Belgians, they never did anything for us here. But look at these people who were colonized by France, all this prosperity, all this stability. And now, one by one, what you are seeing is that all the ex-colonies of France are just crumbling down. So you see that it was just a sand castle. These were sand castles.
And more than that, I hadn't touched ground in West Africa.
What the hell?
But I hadn't touched ground in West Africa.
Time to go to church.
Noise pollution. But
speaking of noise pollution, they need to get rid also of roosters. These roosters wake me up in the morning. So there is the Muslim guy that are calling for prayer. There is the bell and the roosters.
Actually, I videotaped that as
the roosters.
No. Some guys, my window is just next to the road.
Yeah.
This guy is a group of around 50 guys marching on the road, singing in the morning, 5. I don't know, it's exercise or what. Imagine. But I don't know if they're doing sport work 5 in the morning. They're waking me up. Just singing on the road. I was like, what is
that's
that?
good. So they're jogging and praying at the same time.
Yes.
Good use of time, man.
Okay.
5 in the morning.
Time management.
Coming back to West Africa, I was so disappointed that part of Africa has been in touch with Europe for 500 years. Like Senegal. You go to Senegal, you've heard of all of these guys what was the first president again?
The one
Senghor.
Leopold Sédar
Senghor and all that, and blah 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 in français, l'académie, blah 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 blah. And then you go there, and there is zero development. Like zero. I mean, like, and then you see that there is a train, Dakar, Bamako, and that looks like Tintin. And this is West Africa. You say prosperity, stability, and all that, and there was zero. The French have done zero. If it wasn't for Côte d'Ivoire, where you have Houphouët-Boigny, who at least invested in some solid, tangible stuff. But for the rest, you go to Burkina, you go to Mali.
That really brings us back even to this thing we were talking about, the
democracy,
about democracy and about the term limits. If that conversation needs to happen to make sure that it's not people trying to serve their egos, more than real tangible results and things put in place. To really develop a country, so that kind of.
But in fact, the real question is for Africa. No, more and more. But my view is that we need really, if we want to be conscious and take our destiny in our hands, that is the first question. Second question: when democracy is a thing that we want to grow to, because that gives at least a stability for equal, normally, development for each and any member of the society, and not being oppressed by a small group that just want to keep it. That is the aim of democracy, so that we have more interest for more people, common interest for more people. Now, before we reach there, we really need to have a certain level of development, because at the same time we are building our democracy, we are trying to leapfrog at least to go faster in our development. Because as we were saying, this kind of soap operas that we're seeing in the chambers here in the EALA
sessions.
I mean, it wouldn't have a big impact in the West, because they have their level of developments where they can. So for months and weeks they can argue about things. Not really important about procedures, but they have reached that level of development that they can move on. But our countries, are we there yet? You know, or can we afford this kind of luxury?
The argument often happens to be, let's do that first. But then the challenge becomes to say, now how do you transition? From how do you manage that time while you're developing to making sure that still people have a voice, and then how do you transition to that ideal, if there is any version of democracy, from making people being used of one way or not expressing or not being so democratic, or doing away with some of these democratic privileges for the sake of development. That transition part is what remains to be seen.
Okay, Albert.
There are no templates.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Albert?
So we're looking at communist China to see how
and
they're doing.
Lion?
And Tunisia.
Brother, save a second for Albert's karaoke moment, you know.
Okay.
Before you usually ends the
Save
show.
your last dance for me. You save.
Well. And on that note, our listeners, we come to the end of the show. This is 89.7 Contact FM, and you've been listening to News Review. Tomorrow is the Friday edition. We keep it nice and slow and easy. So, of course, no politics.
At the very least, let's mention that a president died.
Yes.
So Michael Sata,
Michael Sata.
Zambia.
Michael
And
Sata
incidentally,
passed on.
because he passed on, another transitional president now is a white guy.
Yeah.
And we hadn't
Scott.
seen that since the clerk in
The Clark's time in South Africa.
So that's very interesting.
Yes. Yeah.
But
So
who cares, really?
He's an African, right?
Yeah. He's an African white.
Historians care.
Yeah, he's an African of Caucasian descent.
Yes. So until tomorrow, same time. Tomorrow we'll be doing it for 1 hour. We're gonna have some really
doing
good
it for
fun.
1 hour.
Yeah. 1 hour.
Finally, something.
So thanks a lot for your time,
So
Albert,
will
Lion,
people
and Moses.
be able to react in that 1 hour?
Sure, we should make them be able to react for tomorrow's show. Certainly. Facebook page and our call lines. Should we open the call lines tomorrow?
Well,
Maybe not.
Maybe,
tomorrow's
maybe.
another day.
You know, you open the
Tomorrow is
call lines
another
and
day.
we church again, you know. Really, are you
It becomes-
serious? We're going there.
Okay. I've been your host of the show, Michael Kiche. Do have a very good morning.
Thank you.